but so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the path.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Gary, your host of the Freedom Network. Here we are yet again to talk some politics, stir some controversy, of course, have some fun, and, hopefully make a few people smile and probably make a few people not smile along the way. But that's okay. I'm glad that you're all here. It's really important that you are, as we try to be live every single Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and we like to talk about politics. We like to talk about freedom, and we like to talk about the Constitution. And that's the kind of stuff we like to talk about. But there's a lot going on, local to global. We'll get into a little bit of local stuff. I attended a meeting. I know. Excuse me, don't fall off your chair. Don't fall off your chair. But I did make it to a meeting. I couldn't stay for the entire meeting. But I was able to give it an hour and 15 minutes, and I got a ton of stuff. I got notes here, notes, handwritten to go over. I wasn't going to just go sit there. I at least wanted to take some notes, see what was going on. But, of course, all your other issues that you may want to get into, email or telephone, more than welcome. Constitution for Freedom at gmail.com, right on your screen, just like that. And 508-266-0990 gets you right here onto the telephone right in front of me, and we can have a nice discussion as well. Any topic you want. I don't care if it's about your street corner all the way to the White House or the UN. It's all applicable here on the Freedom Network. Let's talk about this new school proposed that we've learned a little bit about. I've back and forth on this. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I am completely confused on this one because my political-minded head says, "What are you, nuts?" And my I guess overthinking part of my head says, well, what are you going to do if you don't build a new school? Let's, look at what the options are. And I always think that that's the most important thing because, we can talk about what we want. I do all the time, and you do too. What can we have? What's reality? Reality is where you got to live. You can't live in the, well, we should this or we should that. Someone I was talking on Facebook was talking about that we have, we pay too much in taxes, then we should stop paying federal taxes. The thing is that when we come down to things like, raising taxes in a town, the town has control over that. The town, you don't have control. Let's be honest. We've lost complete control of Washington. You have no control over your tax rate in reality when it comes to the state level or to the federal level. Proof positive. You voted as a population in Massachusetts to lower your income tax rates. They are, and this was years ago, they are still not at the levels that you voted to bring them to. So what we say matters not. But what you say in a town absolutely matters. And every vote matters because the town, now you're talking about a much smaller population, which gives every vote a little more weight, if you will. And when you talk to a populace that is taxed at 50%, I have run more math than I care to run on taxes. And I can't come up with anywhere near anybody that's making, I don't know, 75 grand or more a year. You really are looking at close to 50% of your money is going toward taxes. Maybe it's 46, maybe another guy is 51. It's roughly in that area. And when you say to the people, hey, we want more, they say no. Why? Because they can. Sometimes, though, I guess we have to look at things and overanalyze them, which I know we're not supposed to always do, but maybe we need to overanalyze something and say to ourselves, we're in a mess, we're in a jam. What is the logical way out? How do I get the least screwed, I guess, right, is basically what we do, how we think about things when it comes to politics and especially taxes. There is no shortage of taxes. We pay taxes on everything. You can't move your money without paying taxes. Let's see. If somebody wants to have an opinion, On what, I don't yet know, but we're going to find out together right here on the Freedom Network. Good evening. Do I have you live?
Yes, good evening, Gary.
Hey, what are you doing?
Good. I'd like to start off by thanking you and the excellent NCTV staff and for you doing an excellent show.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to get that out first.
And they've heard you, so they feel thanked as well.
Okay.
Go
And
ahead.
I'd like to thank you for being at the meeting the other night at the Senior Center and your interest and also some of the excellent questions you proposed. And I just would like to, I was going to say, I think you left before they finally showed some of the figures at the 30-year note. And,
Yeah, I did, and I saw your email, but I didn't get a chance to really thumb through it. What was the difference?
Well, a 30-year note at 3%, it would bring it down to $481
Sure.
a year on the lowest value, property house compared to the 20-year note where they were talking about $700 to $800.
But I thought the 7 to 8 wasn't on the lowest. Wasn't that on the average?
Oh, maybe that.
I think that probably would be on the
maybe
average.
the 30 years also on the average.
Yeah, it probably would be on the average, or on the average cost. Now, again, that's another thing that I guess we got to clarify. When they say the average bill or number, what they're doing is they're taking a average valuation of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So the average valuation is X. It doesn't mean that if your house is worth 50 grand more than my house, that you could take that math and then do it that way. You really got to get back to the percent if we want to do it. I just wanted to toss that out there, but go ahead.
And no, I know everybody's financial situation is unique, so everybody has to look at it. But I mean, if what they're telling us is the truth, that it's $53 million to renovate, fix, and bring those schools up to code, and then if it's $53 million to have a brand new school, state of the art, and all the other things that they're talking about, the hopefully a better property values and all the other things that they're talking about, and I think the big thing is that if we don't do that, that's $48 million that's going to be going to another city or town, and are we basically putting a renovated moldy loaf of bread into a renovated bread box? Because, like I said, you start getting into renovating something.
Oh yeah,
You don't know what other type of surprises you're going to find.
Oh, and you're going to. There's no way. I mean, I would say that you probably wouldn't be able to find any company that would be able to really stick behind a quote on a renovation without doing at least some physical testing. I mean, putting in a new floor could run into, a portion of a foundation. You don't know what's going to happen when you're renovating. You do know what's going to happen when you're building new. You'll always have problems and issues will arise, but you can, as a contractor, I think, give a realistic estimate as to what this is going to cost you. When you're renovating, I think that number could slide. Now, you brought something up, if the number is real. I've got a few emails in on this, and I have no insight whatsoever into it, but I'm going to assume that no one's floating some kind of a fake number or something like that. I think that would almost be criminal if somebody was doing that. So I'm going to go with the fact that after listening to the presentation and seeing some of the folks, that number is real. Do you have any feeling that it's not real?
No, all we can do is what the experts are telling us, but with this caveat, Gary, is I don't know if it's possible if the town's building inspector, electrical inspector, and plumbing inspector could also review those plans. And, those people have been in the building profession for 30, 40 years, and they may have some other innovative thoughts or ideas
Sure.
or cost savings that they could add to the mix. And I don't know if that's possible, but just a thought to throw out to
Yeah.
the
No, they're all good
building
ones,
committee.
man. You definitely add some good ideas to it. I got some emails coming in. I'll look at some of those. But thank you for being there. It was nice to turn around and see at least one, familiar face. I didn't know too many people. I did know a couple though. I saw a few of your faces that I recognized, and it was good to see you and good to get out.
All right. Hey,
All
remind me of
right.
the old days with the governor show. And hey, stay safe and stay well, Gary. And thank you
All
for
right,
everything
bud.
you do.
Thank you, man. Good guy. Very cares about the town. Um, Absolutely cares about the town. Let's see. Chad emailed in, not interested in tax increases. Instead, make the town live with the budget cuts equal to what they expect the residents to live with in tax increases. See how they feel. Well, you know what I think the problem is, Chad, is there ain't that much money to cut out of the budget. When you're talking about a situation like that. Now, there are different ideas. I mean, there's regional school systems out there. There are towns that don't have all of the school infrastructure that we do, and most of them are small towns. Um, it's it's interesting, and Chad, like you, I'm not interested in tax increases either. But, and I hate the but, I hate it. But the reality is that you're looking at schools that aren't at code. Now, some are grandfathered in with no sprinklers in them, things of that nature. You got to get these up to code. Why? Because what eventually could happen is we could be told that we can't use the buildings anymore. And if the state was to tell you that, you'd have a problem, because now you're talking about $5,000+ per student being bussed somewhere, if we can even get them in there. You're talking about families leaving town because they're not going to want to be in a town, let's say, where they, just had this. I mean, let's just face it, they're not going to lock the doors tomorrow. But you're talking about renovations, or you're talking about new. You're not talking about keeping the existing. And what's interesting and what I learned was we actually got a very good rating from the state on the upkeep of the schools. Now, I know, everyone's going to, what the hell is he talking about? But it's true. We did, because whatever the requirements are, whatever the case may be, we actually got extra points added on, which I think we're at 59% of eligible costs, which is most of it, not all of it, which is where Barry's getting his numbers. We're looking at, and we got more for that. To me, I don't think that we don't. I think that the schools have a budget, to be quite honest with you, that I'm not so uncomfortable with. And that may be unpopular, but like you, Chad, I'm going to just say how I think. I'm not that uncomfortable with it. What I am uncomfortable with is these old, archaic buildings that are disgusting. In all reality, they really are. They're places that we send our kids and we send town employees to work. You want to cut the thing and equal the amount. There's not, the money doesn't exist to cut that much. Look up the budget of the whole town, and, it's unrealistic to be able to do that. I would love to do that. Oh, would I love to do that. But you're not going to take it from the selectmen, because they don't make nothing really. Make a little stipend. Where you're going to have to cut that, maybe in the school, you may be thinking that way. And, not a bad way to think, except, like every town, there are contractual agreements that we can't get out of. See, this is what I mean when I say that it seems as though, and there should be some anger out there, first of all, okay? I'm not letting anybody off the hook. Because for all this time that we maintained it to the standard, knowing that you're in a town that doesn't want really any higher tax rate, maybe they'd stomach $1, you know what I mean? But that's about, I think, where you're going to start to really lose this thing. Why weren't we going a little bit above and beyond? Why were we, in years past, I can remember the debates, cutting budgets for schools? Or if we're taking away this from the school, we're doing it so that we can do this to the school. Because if we had done that all along, maybe we'd be at a point now where we could renovate. Maybe if we installed some sprinklers, maybe if we had done more asbestos removal, maybe if we had done some things with the floor that were a little bit above and beyond, little by little by little, we wouldn't be in this mess. We are certainly paying for the mistakes of the past, both residents and town government. So I'm not here to mince any words. I'm not here to kiss anybody's ass, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. This situation sucks is what it does. Because what it's going to do on that average number, and I had brought this up and someone had said that they had challenged that was not true. I did the math. I mean, and I used a calculator, so give me a break. No, I did the math. You're talking about 18%. When you're telling me that it's going to be X amount of dollars for an X bill, and I do that math, that's what it's going to be. If I'm mistaken in that, if that math doesn't prove true, and I don't have all that in front of me right now, then let me know, and I would certainly retract it. But as far as I know, from the example that was given, this is what they're paying now, this is what the increase would be. If I have those numbers wrong, then you let me know. Email me if you don't want to do it publicly, or call me and tell me. If it's all wet and it's wrong, tell me. I'd be the first one to want to correct that. But at the same time, I'm not going to back off of it because somebody said it wasn't true when I know the math is right. What I don't know if the numbers are right, but these are the numbers that I got from the town, from the documents that are provided. So I don't want any sidestepping. I don't want any softening. I want a little reality, all right? From me, from Chad, from many, many other people that I know that watch this program that are vehemently against raising taxes. They're going to get raised for one reason or the other. It's either going to be to renovate what you got, to build something that's new, or to pay for all these kids to go to school somewhere else. All right? Now, again, I did bring that up earlier in a discussion on one of the Facebook groups. Has anyone just explored not having a school? Now, we understand that it would be very, we would have to pay out to where these kids go. I get all that, but I did some research, and I found some regional school systems. Excuse me, they seem to do pretty well. I don't know that they're all perfect. What is? But that is an option that I don't know that we really explored. Nobody asked me. See, my biggest issue with this stuff, all right, as I continue I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth on this issue, and I'm going to. I don't understand why the first time we hear of it is when it's either got to be a done deal this way or a done deal this way. And I am over, listening to people, you got to come to a meeting. Because if you don't come to a meeting, then you're never going to know nothing. Why? Why? Can someone please check a date? I mean, pinch me. Am I not in reality? Is it 2018? Does social media exist? Yeah, we got a website. Have you been on our website? It's a fine website. It's great. But people don't visit websites like they did when websites first came out. They just don't. They link through social media. So where's the social media? Where's the posts that go on Twitter, on Facebook, all over the place? Where are those posts that say, hey, we got a problem, and in the next year or two, we got to figure it out. We've been studying. You realize this has been going on now with the school, I want you to understand, for close to 10 years, that they have been applying and trying to get this grant money to do something. Within those 10 years, this is what it takes. So if we were to say, no, we're going to renovate, and then in 20, 25 years, 30 years, whatever it is, you're going to have to do it again. You may want to go and get some more funding. Or if you just say no to all of it and you leave the schools as they are, you could be looking at 10, 12 years. Realistically, they were talking 15 or maybe more, but I mean, I just go by examples in life. If it took 10 years this time, it'll take probably 10 to 12 years next time, maybe a little longer. I don't think it's going to take, another 33% more and add 5 years to it. I think it was 9 years, maybe. Something like that anyway. So I really take to task both us, the government, everybody. What do we got? Oh, here's the annual town report, 2016. Look at this. God, do I need glasses. Isn't that something? Do you realize that's bigger than the original Constitution? Isn't that something? Thank you, sir. I mean, this is great. Things are flying, cups, waters, emails coming in. Here's an email. Brian. Brian says, Gary, I am very perplexed about this issue. I am a consistent no voter, and like you, I am struggling with this. You don't know me, but I was present at a few meetings, not the one you went to. Oh, I see. People, you guys type fast. And it shows. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, it shows. I really don't know what to do either. To be honest with you, it might be a game time decision for me. Yeah, you know what? That's interesting, Brian. It could be a game time decision for a lot of people on this. It really and truly could be. I think what we need to know and what we need to explore is we need to explore the root causes and find out why we got to this point. And don't just say it's because no one went to meetings and it's because we don't have high enough taxes. All right? Because I'm going to tell you something. All right? 15 years ago, we didn't need a new school. And we didn't have high taxes. Okay? That's just a reality. We had the tax base and the tax levy, that we had 15 years ago. And we had a school 15 years ago. And as I've often said, my son went through Northbridge schools and through 8th grade and did really well and is smart as a whip. I think we have great teachers there. There was a failure here. There was a breakdown. And until everybody's willing to look in the mirror a little bit, and maybe you should have thrown a 50-cent override on there and taken that money and put it into these complete and utter cost centers that we have that suck the money out of us. But instead, we just wait and pass the buck and pass the buck and wait. And now, what are you going to do? Because one of those three things is going to eventually happen in this town. It's going to happen. Either they're going to lock the door and say you can't use the building anymore, or you're going to have to renovate it at that point, or you're going to have to build a new one. The buildings are not going to last forever. They will not be there indefinitely. Now, they could be there a lot longer, and I know they're old, but they could be there longer. The other thing you got to look at is, in my opinion with this, is how are we allocating this? Let me run through some of these notes. I see an email coming in, and let it download for a minute. Joe did a great job. He's the school committee chair of the building committee, part of the school committee. He did a great job. Very good. I really will say that my interactions, which have been very few, but it was professional. It wasn't. He was great in making sure that the residents' questions that came up, and there were a few, were answered. And whether he was the one answering it or someone else was speaking, if they went and moved on a little bit, I'm going to tell you something. Joe made sure that they went back to it, and he made sure that the question was answered to the best of his ability, and he let the people know what he would do with the information. That's what you got to ask for when you're looking at a government, and that's what it is. I know people want to always say to me, but so many of these people volunteer, and they don't make a lot of money. It doesn't matter. That's not an excuse for inadequate job performance. It's just not. You volunteered for the job. Do it right, or step aside and let somebody else try. To me, that's just what it is. Now, a very small percentage of people want to be in some type of a government body, but until such a time comes when you literally cannot even get a quorum and take a vote, which we have issues in some of our committees in town. I know that's happened in the past, but I think that you could find enough people in town that would want to be selectmen if the selectmen don't want to do X. I think you could find enough people to be on the school committee in town if the school committee doesn't want to do X. And the theme of tonight's show that I haven't even gotten to yet, and it's already half over, is the government, the size, the scope, and the distance that we are from intent. That's what I was going to talk about today. And at some point, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's going to come to roost. So if the government was saying, hey, we got to raise, the finance committee says we got to get another 75 cents into the budget because we need a DPW. And we got to get this in because we need that, and we keep saying no, then you got to be able to look in the mirror and at some point say, okay, well, now we're buying, expensive trucks and we're parking them outside and they're getting ruined. Well, that doesn't make a darn bit of sense. Again, you're talking about government. You're talking about the relationship between government and the people. It is 2018. You're going to get screwed a little bit. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. Anyway, Joe did, I thought, a really solid job. So the Mass School Building Authority, they fund that, we really did. We got close to 60%. And what's ironic is because, and that's why I say you talk out of both sides of your mouth, some of that increase that we got, initially they were talking 52 or 53 when I first heard it, a lot of that is because of the good job we did upkeeping the schools. which makes me shake my head because what the hell is the standard? Well, we could go down that wormhole. The standard may just be to continue to make sure we have to build new schools, but there is no way. We're our own town, folks. We have an investment in property. We don't treat it as an investment. So we don't ever take money and really put it back in. It's more of the services and that kind of stuff. And you know, we got low taxes. And I'm going to tell you something. I like saying that I live in the lowest tax town in the Blackstone Valley. And I'm probably not going to want to vote for anything that's going to change that. This school, this massive amount of money that we need to now spend in the tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars could have been either done slowly, done gradually, so it doesn't hurt. And all of a sudden you're going to get $700 tax bill extra, or whatever the number's going to be. But it's going to be like that kind of number. And let me tell you, most people I know that live in town, they're going to be hit pretty hard. Those averages, again, are for the average assessed value. Well, what if you have a house that's above the average assessed value? Then what? So you're looking at even more. And you can say, well, those people, it doesn't matter. They're rich. They can afford that house. They can pay it. No. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. They make $1 million a year. People live paycheck to paycheck that make 50 grand a year. And it's not really our business to say to someone, my other favorite one is, well, it's only a cup of coffee, right? It's only a cup of coffee. Well, you know what? I've already bought 50 cups of coffee. I'm buying 50 cups of coffee a week. So now when you say I need you to buy 51, I get upset. And I get upset because it's not the one. It's the 50 that came before it. So I think that if I'm going to go along with any kind of a massive school building, first of all, my son isn't in the Northbridge Public Schools at this time, but even if he was, would never go to the school. It's going to take years to build it. So what we're doing now is for the future, right? I found like the Clintons. It's for the children. But it is for the future. This isn't for us. This is for the future. So if we don't do it, we can pass the buck. We can pass the buck. And someone else is going to be sitting right here screaming and yelling and yakking and hemming and hawing just like I am. It's a guarantee. Because the reality is that the building isn't going to heal. It isn't going to get better. Eventually it will be shut down. And the big thing is that we don't know all the information, and we need to know the information up front. So again, I'm going to remind the entire town government system, school committee included, selectmen, everybody. Get the hell on social media. You can make it so no one can even comment. Just post links to things. Hey, here's the annual report. How much do we spend printing this up? How much? We're paying $25,000, $27,000 to the church every year in rent just to let those modular pieces sit on part of their property over at NES. Has anybody made a thing and written anything down that says that 27 grand that we pay every year needs to go to the bond? And this is what I asked. I asked them about the salvage of the pieces and every bit of salvage, and there is a ton of money of salvage inside of those schools. Who's going to make that money? They say we are. Well, I'd like to see that money, and I'd like to pay that money toward, right? But these are things that have to already have been decided, which is what boils my blood, is that in 2018, we can't find out until the end of the game. The website's great, but people don't just say, let me go to the local website in my town and see what's going on. Nobody does that. That's just, it's almost like discs. A friend of mine bought a new car. I saw him yesterday. He brought it over, gorgeous car, right? There's no DVD disc player in the car. You can't play a disc. They're making cars, discs are now obsolete because you plug in your social media or your MP3 or whatever the heck it is nowadays, right? Your Apple, iPhones, all this stuff, right? iPods, iPads, whatever the hell it is. You put these things in there, and that's what plays the music. So we have gone from the 8 tracks that many of you remember, right, to the cassette tape, I'm talking in your car, right? Then we went to the CD. Now it's gone. We got to progress with that, please. Can we just bring the town to here? And again, get an expert. You got an expert, obviously. You got somebody that knows what the hell they're doing with that website because it's pretty. I find what I want on it. I like it. Why the hell can't you just take and just post the stuff on there as you are adding it? We don't know that you just added something onto that. We have no idea. None whatsoever. The only time I ever go there is when I have a question or I want to find something out as a reaction to something else that happened. I don't know. I don't know. Lots of studies were done with this, with the rebuild or the fix that we have. They have had, this company is Fontaine Brothers. I Googled them. Nothing crazy that I saw that came up. I mean, I'm not a PI. You know what I'm saying? Not a PI. But they seem okay when you look them up. They've built about 23 or 25 schools, I think. They've had 7 community forums here. They've presented to all the town agencies. And it's right, the community forums. Where do you find out? I know that Mike sometimes puts stuff on the Mike for Schools. But how do you make sure? Like, how do you get, I mean, there are pages. Take Elizabeth's NNC. Take We Are Notably Northbridge. They have thousands of people. How many does the one that Mike has? It needs to have thousands and thousands of people so that the word can be spread. It's not about telling 200 or 300 people and getting the normal 3 or 4% to show up, because that's all you're going to get. You got to tell more people. I'm going to keep hitting that. I've been hitting that for years here, and time only keeps going, and we're staying where we are. And this is why I can tell you this. I can tell you this with confidence, okay? Ask my wife. I am on social media way too much. If it was out there to see in a platform, and maybe it is, and it's just the wrong platform, if it was out there to see that I could see it, I really think I would have seen it. I really think I would have seen it. And I do see some things, but it's a share. I want to be able to just get the info and go. I am living in 2018, and you want to get the young people involved? Do you want to get, because those are your yes voters, if you're really looking for, your younger people will definitely vote yes more than your older people will. Why aren't you reaching out to them? If that's what your goal, I just could never understand how this town ran these campaigns. I just could never do it. I would be a consultant for you, but I ain't doing that, because this is your free consulting, because I don't want my taxes to go up. I just know they're going to go up. They absolutely positively are going to go up. No question in my mind. And it's going to be because of the schools, and it's just a basic decision that has to be made. You want to renovate, you want to build new, or do you just want to let the whole thing go and wait a few years and then let the you-know-what really hit the fan? But they've been in front of the FinCom and the school committee and the safety committee and the Board of Selectmen. What I did want to give you, if you had questions, and again, here we go, nps.org has all the info. What I'm saying to you is take the info from... Again, nps.org is the CD, right? Social media at large is the MP3, is the digital music. Let's use that. But email is something that everybody still uses, and that is sbc@nps.org. If you have questions, email them. You'll probably get right to Joe or somebody that's with him, and I am confident from what I saw at that meeting, I am confident that you will get a reply. And if you don't, copy me on it. But if you don't, send it to me, because I will get a reply. But I don't think it would come to that. I think they would come and they would take care of it. The process started close to 10 years ago. We talked about that. So it could take about 10 years to get back to this point. Now, they had 15 up, I think, on a slide. I wrote down 10. Because, again, I want to be real about this stuff, you know. Bomber was built in 1968. I mean, and this is with keeping up with this is what they found through the study, is that it leaks, it's got poor insulation. This is what we'd have to fix. Bad windows, fire protection, which doesn't exist or is very outdated in many cases, also at NES. But the floors, there's no elevator, which again, eventually they're going to come in and say, you got to have an elevator. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to pay $1 million or whatever the hell it would cost to put an elevator in a school that's falling apart around it. This is where the logic is going to have to come in, folks. Let's see. NES built in 1952 and 83. They added those modulars, and we've been paying rent on those modulars since 83. Think about that. Today's rate? I don't know why we don't buy the land. How about this? Why don't we sell the land and if you get the schools to one place, why don't we sell the land? Those are the three questions I asked. I asked, can we pay this sucker back early without a penalty? And they said that we could. I asked them if they're going to sell everything in the school, and will we get the credit for that salvage sale? Will we be able to see it? They told me you would, and it would be listed out. I am going to be looking for that. My other question was, hopefully we would get rid of the old property that NES is on. Just sell it. And someone talked about zoning. Well, it's our town. Just zone it for what you want it to be, but sell it. We don't need it. And take that money and get it to the bond. Take the $27,000 a year that we're spending in rent over there right now for the addition and get it into the bond. Continue to pay this thing. Whatever that payment is every month, it should be going right there. If you want, folks, we have a small town, okay? We want to think that it's some big thing. It's not some big thing, all right? It's a small town. It should be run almost like a family budget, okay? Something's important. Something needs attention. Funnel the money to it and get rid of it. I know Barry called about a 30-year note. That's too long. That's too long. I know it's more appealing to the cup of coffee a day analogy, but it's too long. So, and sell other property that we own. This town owns all kinds of property. For what? For what? What is the purpose of owning the town owning property that it doesn't use or that it won't use? I guess you could rent it, but now you're a landlord. Just take the money and chunk it away into this damn bond that they'll wind up buying, which isn't a debt, an override. I'm sorry, it is a debt exclusion. So it does go away, but I don't want it to take 30 years for it to go away. I mean, come on, I'm 46. So if I live here, I'm going to be 76 years old saying, whew, that bill's paid. Come on. You telling me we can't do any better than that? We can't come up with other revenue that we could funnel into that to get that to be a little bit better of a deal? And they do say that there's higher home values with a better school. I've been looking for stats on that. I can't find them. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I can find towns that have really good schools that have higher taxes, right? I can find higher home values. I can do that. Anybody can do that. What I can't find is a town that had a decrepit school that built the school up and that they realized anywhere near valuation of home to output of what they did. You're not going to make up 30 years worth of $500 payments, call it whatever you want, in your house. You're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So again, math has to come into play here. And I think that, they've cut it. They heard you. They've heard you. They've heard all the yakking, right? They won't, they cut money from it. They already changed the plan. They already made the facade less expensive, less glamorous, things like that, because they were getting immediate pushback. We don't need the Taj Mahal. But what we do need is we need something that we can use, or we have to make the decision to not have a school. There was a town right next to me. I grew up in Stoughton. There's a town right next door, Avon. I think it had an elementary, a middle. Was it Avon? I think it was Avon. Now I'm showing my age. Anyway, town right next door to me that didn't have, elementary K through 12 education. They didn't. There's 2 or 3 others down on the South Shore that don't. There are many in the western, or kind of getting to the western part of the state. That you can Google. You can see where they are. Why didn't we ever discuss and try to maybe talk to these other towns and see if anybody wanted to do a collaborative where maybe it would have cost us $25 million? Maybe that's all it would have cost. Now what? Now you're talking, what, 300, 350? Maybe even less? That's what I mean. Everybody has good ideas. whether I think you're great, love you, or whether I don't, I could learn something from you. One of the problems I'm seeing in our town is everybody's so like this that nobody wants to listen. So what I've done is I've been doing a lot of listening. And what I'm going to tell you is that if we can get these kind of things lined up, if we can make sure and get some commitments from our town government that we are going to sell that darn property, that we are going to take that 30 grand a year or 27 grand a year and we are going to put it toward the bond, that we are going to look at other properties and try to divest in some of the things that we own and put it toward that bond. And we are also going to make sure that every penny worth of salvage that comes out of that school, and let me tell you folks, it's going to be a lot of money, goes toward that bond. Okay? And then as the years go on and you want to come up and have some great ideas of your own of ways to make money for the town and pay the thing off. Haven't you ever done it with a car? Haven't you ever done it with a house? Many people have. You don't have to pay it on schedule. And that was something that I will tell you, if we were going to be penalized for paying it early, I wouldn't even be for it. I don't want to do this for 30 years, but I am listening. I am listening. I'm not saying no and I'm not saying yes right now, so sorry. But I'm leaning yes. I have to admit it. I'm leaning yes because I'm going to get screwed one way or the other here. And I just want to make sure that I get the least screwed at this point. And I think we got a lot of reasons as to why. Plenty of blame to go around. We all need to look in the mirror. You work for the government in the town, you need to look in the mirror. You're a citizen of this town, you need to look in the mirror. We all got to look in the mirror because one thing that we did is we took our eyes off of something. And now I'm getting very substantial. I called the state independently. I didn't call the town to find out. They can close your school. And many of the violations we are inching toward. Again, there's not sprinklers everywhere in all of our schools. Okay? Is that, come on. Come on. Are you going to say that there shouldn't be sprinklers because they were built in a certain date so that it's grandfathered in or some kind of cockamamie thing like that? Give me a break. And I mean, really. And I say this as someone that, to be honest with you, I don't have any skin in this game. My son doesn't go to that school. He would never anyway, as I explained before. I'm not having any more kids. But you know what? This is nuts. The situation we're in is nuts. So should we be pissed and upset? Yeah, we should. We should be mad as hell. But that doesn't mean you get mad as hell and then you just go. If you go in the closet and forget about it, it's going to bite us hard and fast where we won't have control of the situation because we're going to have hundreds of kids with nowhere to go to school. Then the state's going to really step in. And then your town's going to probably get bankrupt. It'll probably get into some kind of receivership through the state. I'm telling you, we're going to have to do something. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have a nice, long conversation about what it is to do. Unfortunately, we've only got a few options now because we didn't all get the information or get the information to the people that needed the information. Two-way street. So that's why I started this conversation with saying everybody's got to look in the mirror. And if you're unwilling to because you don't like my stance, because I criticized Trump last week or supported him the week before, or you don't want to because of this or that, don't. That's fine. I got nothing to do with this. All I am is a messenger at this point. And from the information that I've been able to get through the state and the information I've been able to get through the town, we're screwed. That's what's going to happen. We're screwed. So either be part of the process of being the least screwed or just walk away. But if you walk away, I'm telling you now, it's going to cost more money. It will cost more money. It will. There's no way it doesn't. Again, I'm just a math guy. President Trump's, I'm going to move on because I don't want to sit on this anymore. All right, I got a few emails about it, a whole bunch of don't read my names. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I get it, guys, with the don't read my names. I get it. And I really, some of the stuff for me to say, I think is going to let people know who you are. So I'm gonna just email you back, and we can reform some questions, and we can certainly bring them up or email them out or whatever you want to do. I love that you email the stuff in. Actually, this one I can read right now. This one I can read right now. All right, don't use my name, so I won't. Gary, this really does stink. I do not think that we come out of this unscathed. Half of me wants to go and walk away, and the other half of me wants to renovate. I don't know if I want to build new, but I will tell you, we are definitely going to be spending some money, I guess. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be spending some money. That's what's going to happen. We're spending tens of millions of dollars. It's happening. And we're spending it on the schools. Whether you want to be forced to, or you want to have a little seat at the table, as they say. I guess that's up to us. I'm leaning towards I want a seat at the table, but I feel like every time I think about it, I want to go home and take a shower, because how the hell can I support that size of a tax increase? I don't know how I do it. I'm struggling with it. But the meeting I went to was good. It was professional. It was handled phenomenally. They really did do a good job. They're selling, they're pitching. Yeah, they are. Absolutely, they are. This is something that they want. They want it because they feel we need it. They believe we need it. There was no real controversy or anything like that, like I said, so nothing bad to report from it. But again, if that's the only way, that's how often I can make it to a meeting. From the time I was at my last meeting to that meeting, that's how much time. Now you say, well, if it's that important, you'd make time. It is important to me, but I'm going to be honest with you. Remember, the people that want to raise taxes in this town are a minority of voters that are trying to get a majority to do something. The way you don't do that is by insulting them, is by browbeating them, is by saying, go get your own information. Why can't you come to meetings? It's only a cup of coffee. Because you know what happens at the end of the day? We just go, and we walk away. And that's what we do. And that's what will happen. So let's get the engagement up. Get out of our own way a little bit. Myself included. I'm right here. I'm telling you, I'm leaning one way that I never thought I would lean. So, we got to talk about it. But Trump's restriction on travel to the United States, which is from a handful of mostly, I took this little paragraph because I wanted to get it from a real liberal site, so I got it from NBC. A handful of mostly Muslim countries returns to the Supreme Court, and it's going to face better prospects than the previous versions that were largely rejected by the courts. The case is a critical legal test for a pillar of Trump's immigration policy. His immigration policy, so far to me, is a bit of a dud, but that's okay. And it marks the first time the court will give a full hearing to one of the president's initiatives. So what they want to do in this article is they want to say President Trump is banning Muslims from the United States of America. This is not a Muslim ban, okay? And this is insane. And what this is it's lying to forward a political agenda, which is I hate Donald Trump. Well, like I tell you, I always just call what I see. I don't give a crap about the parties, the people. I don't care about that stuff. So what I see here are people making stuff up to try to slander the president because they want to fit an image that the president is a racist. So this will fit well. Let's, again, run some numbers. It's like a math class here at the Freedom Network. There are about 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. All right? That's probably about a quarter of the population, maybe, give or take. Probably a little less. A little less, maybe. So from what I can find, all right, there seems to be that these are the countries that are going to be involved, okay, in this travel ban. Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. Right? Those are the countries. So let's look at this now, all right? Let's start at the top. Iran's got 81 million Muslims in it. Libya has got 6 million. North Korea actually has 3,000. Somalia's got 9 million. Syria's got 19 million. Venezuela's got 95,000. And Yemen has got 28 million. Okay? So if we add that all up, if I did my math correctly, we come up to a total of about, I put here, 143 million Muslims, certainly a lot of people, live in the countries where they are banned from coming to America, right? This is where we want to ban them from. 143 million. The countries, first of all, aren't even all majority Muslim countries. Some are. So we have a total of 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. Huge part of the population of the world. And Trump wants to ban countries that have a total population of 143 million. And the left is saying that this is a Muslim ban. There is no mathematical way to support that it's a Muslim ban. They're attacking Trump because they want to, because they're taking the news and making it fit the agenda, which is what they constantly do. It is not a Muslim ban. If you live in Indonesia, where there are lots and lots of Muslims, okay, and you can think of other countries that aren't on that list, I'm sure, as I can, and right off the top of my head, you are more than welcome to come to America and be a Muslim. Nobody's saying you can't. Trump's not saying it. I'm not saying it. Nobody's saying it. No one is saying that there's a ban on Muslims except the media, who is trying to push an agenda to make you think that Donald Trump is a racist, which he isn't. We've been over this as well. We've been over this as well. The man may not be the most polished, may say some stupid things, but he's not a racist. You know why I can say that? Because I look at his actions. Actions. That's what tells you the character of a man. When a guy lets black people and Jewish people come into golf clubs that are exclusive, exquisite, where they were never allowed before in Florida, that's not something a racist does. A person that's anti-Semitic or racist or a religiosphobe or whatever the case may be doesn't embrace a Jewish member of his family, of his daughter marrying a Jewish person. His grandchildren will have Jewish blood in their veins. Think about it. That's what a hater does. Haters do things like that. And he has a relationship with them. It's not like it's just, well, it's his daughter, there's nothing he can do. No, he embraces them. Trump's not that. He's a lot of things, right? I mean, I got lots of issues with his politics, but this personal crap and this blatant lying, there is absolutely, positively no ban on Muslims. What he's doing is he's banning places from countries that the government feels are hostile to America. Now, we don't have to agree to that, and we could definitely have a nice long conversation about that I may not agree with Trump on. But a Muslim ban simply isn't happening. All right, what's happened to the government, I don't know, following the Constitution? I wonder about it all the time. I took a ton of notes here. I don't understand why people are so willing to give up freedoms. I don't get it. We talked about taxes to death. I'm going to skip all through that. People don't even understand things like we didn't have a signed Constitution in 1776. You go ask people, they think we did. When was George Washington president? Go ask people that. Don't ask them on Facebook, because they'll Google it and then they'll go, really? That's what they'll do, because they don't know. 1787, convention is called to draft a new legal system for the United States. The new Constitution provides for increased federal authority while still protecting the basic rights of its citizens. I have so much great stuff here that we will definitely get into at some point. But remember something, beginning on December 7th, 1787, and I know I got to get out of here, 5 states, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut, ratified the Constitution in quick succession. However, other states, especially Massachusetts, opposed the document. Let me fast forward down here. It's like when I hear them say that we're a democracy, but we're not a democracy. The government class exists. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not so sure. Freedom was not taken away from you. And this is what I'll leave you with, all right? We're going to go over some Federalist and Anti-Federalist stuff next time we get together. It's important that we do. But I want you to understand something. We allowed all this to happen. Freedom was not taken away from us. We gave it away. Freedom was not taken away from us. We gave it away. Now, we still have a chance, but it slips every single day. We allowed this to happen. So you want to fix it? Let's fix it. I'd love to talk about it. 3 on 11 is coming up right now. They're going to have a great show for you. And I'm going to be back next week. And we'll try to dive into some more constitutional stuff. But thanks for the emails and all the local stuff. Stay free. I'm giving you time for your show. Now you don't want it? I could talk till 9 o'clock if you want me to. We'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you.
Because